The changes to work and home life stemming from the pandemic are hitting women especially hard. Women are picking up more of the childcare and housework responsibilities, and large numbers of women are leaving the workforce. In academia, women are submitting fewer papers too. I'm Veronica Rickert. This is Badger Talks. Today, we're talking with one of the co-authors of a viral list called 10 Simple Rules for Women Principal Investigators During a Pandemic. You can check out those suggestions online at go.wisc.edu/regaining-balance. It's a list a lot of women will be able to relate to. Pam Kreeger is an associate professor of biomedical engineering at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Pam, thank you so much for taking the time to talk today.
Well, thank you for having me here.
This is personal for you, right? For you, can you tell us a little bit about where the drive to create this list came from?
Well, I think like a lot of people, we all went into this pandemic not knowing what it would be. How would we? And sort of assuming that if it dragged on as long as it has, we would find some kind of equilibrium and figure it out. And this summer, I certainly wasn't there yet. And at the same time, I was starting to see things that were coming out, suggestions on how to deal with this and how to stay productive. And they just didn't seem to fit my life. Many of them seemed really almost insensitive, saying things like pick up a new topic and finish that project you've never gotten around to. Things that with kids and normal day-to-day stuff and the challenges of how much harder daily living is during a pandemic, it felt almost heartless.
I want to get into that list because some of this dovetails nicely. Saying no to requests to do anything outside of your main responsibilities is one of the items on this suggestion list. Why do you think women need to hear that?
Well, I mean, we're obviously not the best at it. So I'm here doing an interview, which I think is important, but it's not one of my requirements for my job. And so we often find ourselves agreeing to do things because we want to help other people, because we want to be a good sport and be a team player. But there are times when you can't do that, and you have to know that that's okay. And I think we've all heard it, but we don't always internalize it and remember it in the right moment.
Right, and somehow I think hearing that from another woman, that it's okay to say no, that it's okay to drop something if you're overworked, which is another one of your suggestions, somehow coming from someone who's going through the same things as you seems somehow easier to listen to hear. Do you think that women are responding that way because it's coming from people like you, other women?
I think that's part of it. And I also think while the title is 10 Simple Rules, we actually had rule 0, which is there are literally no rules. There's no way that the way I'm experiencing this situation is the exact same as any other woman anywhere. Everybody is having a unique experience. Everyone has different supports. Everyone has different secondary challenges. And so instead, we actually gave 10 suggestions. We had to fight the editors a little bit to use that word because the format for their pieces are 10 simple rules. It's the idea of let's give quick and simple advice, but this is not a quick and simple problem. And that I think has resonated with people, that it was coming from a woman's voice, understanding that women probably don't want to be told how to do things. We've been told how to do things a lot in our lives, and it doesn't always fit with where we are at that moment.
I want to ask you about number 5. I'm curious about this one. It's remember you know yourself best. What are you getting at with that particular rule or suggestion?
I sort of saying things like, okay, I know that when I'm really stressed, the way I can see it is that I won't eat as much. Other people eat more. You know yourself, you know your signs of when things are not going well, and you need to pay attention to those. You also know the things that help you when you're in those moments. So maybe for you, it's exercise. Well, I know you don't have enough time, but that is telling you that is something you can't leave out. Maybe you need to talk to your best friend and you haven't been able to do that. Okay, you can't necessarily have a party with them, but schedule in a regular phone call. Find a way so the things that have helped you to always stay balanced and stay healthy, find a way to do those. Some of them may not be possible. I love writing in coffee shops. That's out. So I've had to find alternates, that for certain things, but there are other things that I can still do and I need to remember to do them.
I wish we had time to talk about every point on the list. It's a fantastic list. But since this is a short amount of time, what lessons do you hope that we learn as a society to support women in stressful times like these are?
So I think this has been stated in many places that the pandemic reveals social inequities. We've seen this with racial situations. We've seen this now with gender inequity in work. And so stress brings out the best and worst in people. And it brings out the best and worst in society. So hopefully the things that we find that help people through this time, we can then perpetuate and continue during normal times to, advance our society from where it's at, to really improve the situations. I don't want this to just be about times of stress. I think we have to recognize that these were problems that were always there, and they might have been easier to handle when you could do something like, oh, I'm too busy tonight, I'm going to go out to a restaurant rather than cook dinner. Okay, now that's not an option. So we have to stop and say, are we trying to do too much? Are we trying to expect too much of people?
Pam, thank you so much for joining us today. And a special thank you for bending one of your suggestions and taking on something extra. I really appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm really happy that we're having this conversation.
If you have questions for us or you want to comment on this Badger Talk, you can send us email at covid19update@uc.wisc.edu. For more info, you can go to covid19.impact.wisc.edu as well. This is Badger Talks.